My lords, the present occasion is too serious to allow me to follow the convention that a woman should not speak in a man's council. These are the words that Empress Theodora in 532 said when her husband had embarked on a plan to flee the country after the rebels were surging and it seemed like they were going to defeat him. Hello, my name is Kelly Rwamapera for Rwamapedia. We are here to analyze the speech of Empress Theodora that she gave on 13th January of 532 AD in the Byzantine Empire, or the Roman Empire of the West. The speech comes at a time when Emperor Justinian and his government were trying to flee the country. It was a time of panic, very hectic, as the rebels were outside his gate and were ready to capture power. We are going to look at the speech itself, analyzing it. What does it mean, especially to the women and women's rights and women's emancipation, as it has always been for very many years, very many ages, that women seek to be free to do what they want to do and to have a position in society. In many societies they have attained this position, and in many other societies they have not. We are going to look at the speech of Empress Theodora, the wife to Emperor Justinian of the Byzantine Empire of 532 AD. She started her speech with very strong words that I emphasize that everyone should look at them and understand what really this woman was saying, this noble woman was saying. That, my lords, the present occasion is too serious to allow me to follow the conventions that a woman should not speak in man's council. Those whose interests are threatened by extreme danger should think only of the wisest course of action, not of conventions. Now, this speech gives the idea of what was going on in this empire, the Byzantine Empire or the Roman Empire of the West. Emperor Justinian was packing his things, and at this time it has been resoluted that they should leave the country, they should flee, they should go away, because the rebels outside had attacked his empire that we will explain in the following few episodes. So as they were preparing to go away, Empress Theodora comes out with a new idea of what to do, not to flee, but what to do. And she inspires the council, Emperor Justinian, to stay and fight the rebels. But when you look at her words, there are three paragraphs when you write down the words, the speech. The first paragraph gives a strong understanding of the position of women in that society. And again, we are going to compare it with the contemporary world, how are women endeavoring to attain a position in society and what society really perceives of this. Because we know for sure that these people had planned ABCD, not to leave the country, and they tried to fight back, but it looked like they were defeated. Now, she comes in as they are trying to flee the country at last, that they have accepted that they are defeated. The speech itself tells us that ever since these men of this man's council, they had never told her of what is going on. And this is an empress. I want to remind you that Justinian had almost installed Empress Theodora as unequal in this empire. He declared that this woman, though she's his wife, but he had declared that Empress Theodora is his equal. But this speech reveals that actually what was going on is they did not inform her of what was going on. This is a woman who has a title of the Empress in the empire, in the whole empire, but she's not informed of what is going on. And this gives you an understanding that this problem could even still be available in our societies, that women are just elevated to certain positions. But when it comes to decision makings, there are strings, that people behind the curtains who pull strings and make decisions without them. This speech tells us that this is the first time she's speaking in the man's council, and she had been empress in this empire for 5 years. This is a council of people talking about national issues. This is supposed to be a national council, but Empress Theodora shows that this council was actually man's council. Outside in the empire, Theodora is known as an empress, a powerful person, unequal to Emperor Justinian. But when we go behind the curtains to see what is going on, the council that takes decisions on national issues is not for all people. It's for men. She calls it a man's council. But don't we have this challenge in our societies today, when in your country, in your villages, in your places, municipalities, in your towns, don't you say this, that in many cases women are brought in front, you find them on airports, you see them everywhere, but when actually behind doors they are men who are pulling strings, that these women actually don't have actual power of holding the nation in their hands as citizens of their country, as people who can have influence and a word in their country. Don't you see this thing? This is what was going on, that although Empress Theodora was known as unequal, as an empress outside, she could do whatever she wished in this empire, but whenever decisions were taken within the circles of the leaders or the rulers of this empire, she could not be involved. This is a terrible thing that is done to very many women. I think women now, some women know this, that these things are going on in the places they are. So when we look at her speech, the opening paragraph tells us of two things. You can look at the speech in two things: the character in her and the words in this speech. So the action of her coming out with this speech, with these words, and the words themselves give us something to comment on. But let's start with the action. The fact that Empress Theodora comes out and she challenges men of her time it tells the women of today that please seize the opportunity to prove your worth in society. Don't wait for men to put you in positions and say you are this, you have to do this. That's not enough. Come out with an idea, challenge the men's council, challenge men, challenge people, an idea that tackles the society at large. Because we have seen very many women coming out today and they challenge society on several issues, but you find that in many cases the issues they talk about are issues that make sense when at a time of stability. I don't mean that they don't make sense at a time of instability, but since we are in a world of both stability and instability, you find that when women, for example, come out and talk of a woman is supposed to wear the way she wants, she moves where she wants, she decides ABCD, that's good, it's exactly. But when you look at it deeply, you find that many of these challenges that women bring to society, for societies to consider, these ideas that work during the time of stability, when our nations have good leaders, when our nations have electricity, when our nations, people can walk outside safely, when we have some good towns, when there are no vagabonds around, when there are no slums, such things. And you find that there are very few women who come out to form political organizations to challenge governments in power. In many cases, women say that, oh no, this government is good, they gave us rights, but this is your right, it's not a privilege. A man is not supposed to come out and say, now I dispense this, I give you this, you have to be treated like this. No, it's your right, inborn. It's not something that you are just given. So women don't come out to challenge governments. And when governments change, they are changed by men, they are installed by men, and then men come out and give women the rights. So it's like they are at the recipient end of what they are supposed to be in society. And this is what Empress Theodora is challenging, because she comes out and she challenges men in their council. She's not talking about the rights of women outside. Yes, they should. Those rights are supposed to be there. But when men are in power, of course, they are the ones who regulate these rights instead of women being in power and do what is fair for their fellow women in society. So this is what Empress Theodora is talking about when we look at the action of her speech. Let's look at the words themselves. The words themselves are calling upon governments or the states or institutions to leave this tendency of bringing women in front in positions just to appease people, to appease society, that these people are with us, really, they are working with us, when actually behind curtains it's these men who pull strings, and women have a very little say in their country, like what happened at the time of Empress Theodora. She was just there, an empress who says whatever she wants outside the courts of Emperor Justinian, but when she's inside, Emperor Justinian and his men, those men, simple men, the governors of the provinces of his empire, could take tougher decisions that Empress Theodora could not do. So the speech, the opening words of the speech calls upon society to realize this problem that the women we have are not supposed to speak in a man's council. This is very dangerous. It's supposed to be a national council, not a man's council. So she's challenging all this, and she's telling society to look, to open their eyes and start doing something about this. And we see that in the end, they listened to her, and her speech was very important in this society of hers. So I thank you very much. My name is Kelly Rwamapera. We have 3 series of this speech. The next series, I will talk about her, the whole speech, analyzing it and its importance and its relevance in our society. And then we'll talk about the art of speech, the art she used to deliver a speech that changed everything at the last moment. I thank you so much. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. My name is Kelly Rwamapera. This is Rwamapedia. Thank you.